And cue the music. There we go. Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esther, and with me as always is the man who makes it all happen.
Phil, me, and Perich.
That's the guy. I love him. He's awesome. Okay. Yeah. So, a few things to talk about. First off, Phil, it's lies, all lies.
Avengers. You're talking about Avengers No Surrender.
Yes, Avengers No Surrender. We haven't really talked that much about it. Had the last 3 weeks, I actually got the last 3 weeks read up on my Avengers No Surrender. And, aside from the fact that, yes, Gwenpool very clearly is Valerie Vector.
I think so.
Oh, without a doubt. Look, okay, there's only so many people it could be. And yeah, no, it's my own wish fulfillment to say it's going to be Gwenpool, but if it's not Gwenpool, it's certainly a Gwenpool pastiche, is what I'll say. Okay? And just to give you, aside from the fact that when we see her outside of her universe, everything is put into comic book form. Her flashbacks are very much designed to look like old comic books. And here's what I'm going to say about Valerie Vector. We get Valerie Vector's origin in all this. Okay? Her origin.
Supposed, yeah.
And here are the things that are very clear to me about this origin. First off, it's a very Silver Age origin. It is very much designed to be an origin that would have made sense in a 1960s Marvel universe.
A very scientific-y origin, yeah.
Well,
except they're
yeah.
science fiction.
Well, what actually kind of struck me as interesting is that her origin is very similar to Miss America's origin. The original 1940s Miss America origin, where the experiment, someone else's experiment explodes, and that gives her powers.
Mm-hmm.
Which, interestingly enough, is actually very similar to Ms. Marvel's powers, or Captain Marvel's powers. Basically, the second Megatron explodes, gives her powers. So it's an interesting repeated comic book cycle there. But like I say, what is telling is that it is clearly meant to ape a Silver Age origin or Golden Age, Silver Age origin, while also clearly taking on themes that would be appropriate in a modern retelling.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond just that, that it's the parents are getting divorced, and now you can have because here's where all the Franklin or the Valeria Richards people are going to say, obsessed scientist is the dad, got a rocky relationship, maybe she wishes they'd be with Uncle Victor, mom would be with Uncle Victor, we don't know. And yeah, I can hear all of you Valerie Richards people pushing for that idea. Here's why I don't think it's Valeria Richards. And that goes to the name Voyager. And Voyager, the returning hero named Voyager, that name has a particular reference to real-world nerds in the idea of V'ger.
Mm.
That only a girl like Gwenpool or Gwenpool pastiche is going to think to name herself V'ger or Voyager. Because she, in her own mind, is referencing her own pop cultural knowledge, which is going to have to include Star Trek. And, of course, since no one ever saw Star Trek the Motion Picture, no one will get the reference.
Maybe.
So and for what it's worth, in Gwenpool's final stories, we do see her growing as a character and having a more complex history beyond just being a joke character. And to that extent, the Voyager story in this No Surrender arc, I think, gives her what she most needs, which is a reason to exist in this universe. So I am more convinced than ever, based on what we've seen in the Avengers No Surrender arc, that Valerie Vector, the Voyager, is in fact none other than Gwenpool. I'm not even that unconvinced that the Challenger isn't her brother, but that's a whole other side theory that's based on nothing except for randomness.
So
what do you think, Phil?
So how? Well, I have a question. How is it that Jarvis can see through this when all the rest of the Avengers have all these false memories?
Because Gwenpool is in a book that's being written. And she knows that she's not going to be able to convince everybody. And she knows that they're not going to kill Jarvis. So obviously, if anyone's going to be the one that actually saw through it all, it would have to be Jarvis. I'm not going to say that she infected him with the alien parasite or what have you, but I get the feeling she knows that someone has to see through it. Someone's going to give her reveal at the end because she knows it's a comic book that's being written.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows she has her own limitations. That is why, she has an origin and her powers have certain subsets, even though her powers are very similar to the powers we see Gwenpool demonstrate. Instantaneous teleportation and things like that, along the line of a comic book, meaning that she can go somewhere that she's been in the book. So I'm still convinced of it. And like I said, and that's the thing. The fact that Jarvis is the one person not fooled by it is what tells you it's Gwenpool.
Mm.
Because why should Jarvis be immune when no one else was? Because, as we saw, the Valerie Vector retcon starts before he goes into his coma. Because we see the statue before he goes into his coma.
Yes.
So we know that whatever was creating this, it's not just because Jarvis was in a coma that he doesn't recognize it. That there has to be a real reason why Jarvis isn't being fooled. And the only logical reason is because the writers had to have it now.
No. Yeah.
That's my take.
Speaking of, I believe Mark Waid said in my interview with him that we would get the answers on Valerie Vector in part 10, and that's what's the issue coming up this Wednesday is part 10. So
yeah, well, I mean, clearly, because we've gotten to Lies All Lies from Jarvis. We've gotten her appearing, and we see how she appears, and she's all scary and malevolent with, her vector powers, quantum entanglement. And that's the other reason I know that that's the other reason that Valerie Vector is Gwenpool, because her origin deals with quantum entanglement, which is basically just a modern way of saying cosmic rays. It's something that she clearly has no idea what it really is discussing, but she's just going to go with it. Quantum entanglement. Don't ask questions. And that's my take on it. Do you have a counter theory you'd like to proffer, young Philip?
No, I mean your Gwenpool theory is better than. I don't have any theory better than that. I mean, you were saying her origin reminded you of what, Miss America, and I know online
Miss America.
People compared her physical appearance to who's that, Sun Girl. So it's like, is this just the writer's nods to like Golden Age heroes, or is there something to that?
I mean, entirely possible. I mean, like to me, it reminds me of Miss America, and of course, that makes for an interesting aspect. I mean, if you really want to tie a whole interesting bit of retconning into it, okay. Wanda and Pietro's original parents were supposed to be Wizard and Miss America.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, by the way, have you watched the first episode of Jessica Jones yet?
Yeah, I've watched the first 3. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I still have to. I watched most of the first episode. I fell asleep, and then I think I watched all of them while I was asleep. So I probably internalized the whole thing. But yeah, loved the shout outs in that first episode, and we'll talk about that tomorrow with my skinny rich friend Maz Manzoor on Capes and Lunatics. Yes. So tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, kids. For those of you who watch us on YouTube. Okay, but yeah. So Miss America's was originally supposed to be Wanda's mother. Mm-hmm. Wanda has retcon powers. So if Gwenpool is trying to hint at her origins, having stuff that calls back to Miss America certainly follows that line of thought. Like I said, he's going to say it's probably Valeria Richards. Just because I'm always wrong whenever I have this great, fully super connected theory about why this should be the answer. I'm always wrong.
Well, I mean, in that big special, that Marvel Legacy special, I mean, they showed her and Franklin voyaging somewhere, but we haven't seen them since. So, I mean, yes. Is that it? Or, I mean, people have compared her physical appearance to the Sentry, and as we've seen, spoilers, in Marvel's new refresh, Sentry's getting a book again. So,
mm-hmm. And that's well, it could be. Oh, ha ha ha! You know who it could be?
Who?
Okay, this is some deep dive stuff here. There was in the book, my favorite Sentry book called The Age of the Sentry, which was Reed Richards telling old comic books stories about the Sentry to Franklin Richards. There was an episode where we meet the Sentress. And do you know who Sentress's alter ego was?
Who? I can't remember.
We don't actually show who it is, but it's strongly implied that it's one Ms. Carol Danvers.
Ah.
And as I said, it finally explains why the heck Ms. Marvel had a big Sentry S on her chest. No one ever asked that question. Why do you have an S on your chest, Ms. Marvel?
But I mean, Reed told Franklin that story, correct?
Yeah.
Franklin has reality, well, basically whatever powers he needs, whatever the situation calls for.
He has the same powers as Jack, unlimited potential.
Valeria is pretty close to Valerie.
I know. Well, it's entirely possible, and I still say he just manufactured Valeria out of whole cloth because he felt, I want a sister. I have a sister.
And I mean, they were outside. They were outside of reality with their parents, kind of, sort of. So I mean, maybe.
And the only problem with the argument about Valeria is where's Franklin? Now, if you follow my Gwenpool theory, then Franklin could be the challenger. And this is all their own little game they're playing. But I'm going to give you one deeper dive more. So if you've ever read the website, I forget the actual, it's a great Fantastic Four website, but it's the idea of the Fantastic Four's Great American Novel. And I forget the author's name, but look it up. Just type in Fantastic Four's Great American Novel. You're going to get to his website. There's so much great stuff there. But he has this great thing about Franklin, and it's a good life in the Marvel Universe with Franklin. And he actually has, and he has this theory that the Sentry is actually the fully grown Franklin, who goes back in time to ingratiate himself on his family. That's why the Sentry and Reed Richards were best friends, though you never actually get to see them be best friends because they weren't actually best friends because Reed is always afraid of Franklin as he ages, which is why Franklin never ages. Because every time he becomes an adult, Reed freaks out and does something to him. So the only way he could come back and have a relationship with his father was to come back as an adult, but not be Franklin, and pretend to just be a normal superhero with randomized powers, sort of the way that Voyager is, just a normal superhero, not an unlimited retcon device. And he can have this relationship with his father. So follow this line of thought. Voyager is Gwenpool, but Gwenpool is Valeria Richards. And they come back, and Franklin has Valeria be Gwenpool. Franklin be's Gwenpool's brother. And then after the end of Gwenpool, then they reimagine themselves into this. Once they've understood how to move throughout the fictionalized universe through that through the white space dimension, which is where the Beyonders dwell, let's not forget. They come back as the Sentry and Voyager. Entirely possible.
I want that just to see how many people can keep up with that idea.
Well, and to give you a fun fact, there's a nod to that idea in the last issue of Gwenpool when she's talking about how things that happened earlier in the book are in her present, even though they actually happen in her character's future. Because she gets this watch in the future from Doctor Strange that like has this countdown because it's her countdown of her issue. And then in the end, when she's in the end of her book and she's talking to her future self, she has the watch and she says, I have the watch, but I get that in the future, but it's actually in the past but it actually happened in an earlier part in this book. So that's how I can have it. And it is this idea that there is this very fluid time in this story, which is how these powers work, which is how Gwenpool is Valeria, is Franklin. And who knows, they may all be the same person.
What? Wait, what was that name you said? Doctor Strange?
Oh, Doctor Strange, yes. And speaking of Doctor Strange and just completely weirded out timelines, what is going on with this Damnation story? What is the damn story with this Damnation?
Are you up to date? Did you read issues 1 and 2?
Oh, yeah.
And Doctor Strange issue, yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because the Doctor Strange issue comes first, which basically tells the whole story of issue 1 and 2. So it's like, oh, okay, that's that. That basically you get the condensed version in the Doctor Strange episode. Then you get 2 extra books. Where's that cash register sound effect? Then just 2 extra books, basically just retelling that, but with more pages, I guess.
Fleshing it out.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. And they do have a whole getting the team together episode in episode 2, which is again for anything that's saying that Gwenpool is running the Marvel universe, just the fact that all of the heroes are sitting there saying, and why are we getting this person? Why are we in this? Shouldn't we have someone else do this? Oh, and honestly, just the most Gwenpool-y aspect of this is when Dr. Voodoo says to, first off, that Man-Thing can't talk anymore. Now he's back to not talking, and also can't read. So, Wong, could you just tell us the plan? Could you give us the exposition? It is so much a fourth wall-breaking book, the second issue of Damnation, that I thought this was a Gwenpool book. Although I will say this, after reading that second issue, I so want Moon Knight and Deadpool to team up. Because apparently they couldn't get Deadpool, but they decided to just make Moon Knight Deadpool for that.
Yeah, it seems very weird, yeah. Then in Like the last few pages, Scarlet Spider shows up with a bunch of guns, which I guess they'll explain next week when Scarlet Spider's issue comes.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Is that going to be a tie-in, or is that just going to be?
I think it's tying in. Yeah.
Well, no, but didn't we say that the current events of Scarlet Spider are post Damnation?
It's very weird because like there's an issue with Scarlet Spider where it was like there was the first few pages were before Secret Empire, and then they flash forward and like Vegas was like half destroyed. It wasn't like completely flattened because remember I was like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah. Sometimes they don't communicate between books, I think is what happens.
Remember what Peter David said? He's like, they tell me nothing.
Yeah, well, exactly. I don't know. They're going to Vegas. The question was: is it Hulk attack level, or is it No More City? Is it World War Hulk or just a general Hulk and Hulk day? Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So I loved. I have a love-hate relationship with Damnation right now. Especially because, like I said, it's like 2 issues that just catch up with the first issue. It's like the first issue, and now here's the next 2 issues that just basically, you say flesh it out, but it also just seems like especially the getting the team together thing that was so annoying. And I tell you what, it was very Bendis-y, almost a parody of Bendis-y. Is what I'll say, because you have that whole glib chit-chat over-talk of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you get to the, the vampire, the useless vampire hunter.
Yeah.
Because I fight monsters all the time. I almost never see vampires.
Charlie, not to sidetrack us too much, but did you read any DC comics this week?
Did I read any DC comics this week? The last DC comic I read was The Terrifics.
Okay, no,
I haven't gotten to any other DC comics.
Every book this week had like a big 2-page ad.
Is that a promise or a threat?
Bendis is coming.
Yeah,
look at that. They put his name in like the Superman font. Bendis is coming.
Yeah, I don't know.
When is the last time they did that for any creator, Charlie? Just tell me that.
They didn't do that for John Byrne when John Byrne took over.
They never did that for anyone, I don't think.
I don't, and not for nothing, I don't even get it. I mean, I get that Bendis is a name. I get that Bendis has a following.
Yeah.
I don't think Bendis, and not for nothing, it's not like Bendis was still writing all the Avengers books. Bendis had kind of become an elder statesman at Marvel at that point, where he was just writing the books he wanted to write. Mm-hmm. Which I get, because hey, who wouldn't? He had his great run on the Avengers. He really put his stamp on what Marvel was for a period. Had these big overarching stories with his. He did Secret Invasion, right? That was his baby, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So he did his Secret Invasion. He did, the Cabal. He did the Dark Reign. He really, for like 3 major events, he was the man.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, he kind of said, well, I'm just going to write the books I want to write. I'm going to have my retirement. I'm going to really enjoy it. I'm going to do some characters. I'm going to mess up some continuity. And, like I said, it's not like DC got Bendis at the height. It's not like they stole Bendis from Marvel. He was working at Marvel, but I don't feel like this was a coup. It's like, oh, why don't you come here and we'll let you write 10 books and completely revamp our entire line. Does Bendis even want to do that at this point in his career? It's like, I already did that. If you had me come over there, I'm just going to write Superman. I'm just going to write the books I want to write. I'm going to pick some random characters. I'm going to have my DC Kitty pride wandering through all the books you have me write. Whoever whoever his DC version of Kitty Pryde is, you know.
Lois Lane's going to be Jessica Jones all of a sudden.
Yeah, entirely possible. Yeah, you know. Like I said, I'll never even get the domestication of Jessica Jones is one of the weirdest things in my understanding of the entire Bendis run. You know,
there's just certain characters. I mean, they want to cash in on them. I mean, look, Deadpool's on the Avengers for a while.
Yeah. Beautiful bone structure, that man. Which actually gets me to a thing about the Punisher series, which is, of course, we do know that in that, speaking of people coming, Jigsaw is coming. But we know it's played by Billy Russo. And again, I think we're going to have this issue with Jigsaw of, he's got scars on his face. Really nice bone structure, though. It's like, I don't think when you're starting out with a guy that's this beautiful, you can make him that ugly. Realistically. The most you can do is put scars on his face. I mean, and not for nothing, it's not even like when they did Deadpool that they actually had a big gap in his, big gaps and abscesses in his face. He just he had a splotchy face and beautiful bone structure. He was bald. I guess that was the horror. Oh, my luxury. Whenever I go back to the Deadpool film, which is a great film and I love very much, I always look at it and I always think about that scene in Not Another Teen Movie where, they're trying to pick who the girl he's going to turn into the prom queen is.
Oh, yeah.
And just all these different... Yeah, and everybody who is, clearly a normal person, but no, not her, not the girl with the overalls with paint on it and the glasses and a ponytail. Yeah. Yes, a ponytail. What can I do with that? And that's how I feel about Deadpool and Billy Russo in The Punisher. Just my opinion on that subject. So, how do we get there? Oh, Bendis. Bendis is coming. It's like I don't even have any anger at Bendis. It's like, okay, Bendis is coming. I don't get why DC is hyping it like this, because not for nothing, that can only end poorly.
Yeah.
Because if you put that much hype on Bendis, Bendis is going to do, yeah.
Because if he does good, you're like, okay, yeah, he's been hyping it, and if he hits anything, other than a home run, people are going to be like, oh, they hyped it, and look, he didn't come out swinging.
Well, not for nothing. Even if he comes out swinging, even if he writes the best Superman story ever told.
Well, that's all what people. That's what people are going to expect.
It's still just but it's just a Superman story.
I know, but you're pushing him like the second. You're pushing him like the second coming. So he better be hitting home runs.
Yeah, but well, I mean, it could be a home run. It could be a great story. I think that it's impossible for it to be as. It's like this. I don't think he's going to be writing The Watchmen. Because I think if Bendis was going to have written The Watchmen, he would have already written The Watchmen. And maybe there's some Bendis fans who's out there going to tell me, well, no, Bendis' Watchmen is this. At which one I'll say, okay, then that was Bendis' Watchmen. He's not gonna write the Superman arc that's going to be, one of Time's top 100 novels of the next century.
I think the next thing, if anything, he might be writing something Batman, because I think at least in one interview he's mentioning something about how he had an idea years ago for a Batman Daredevil crossover or something.
Yeah, he's gonna do the full trifecta, and then he's probably gonna write turn too. Yeah, he's probably gonna he's gonna rub his Bendis on everything, and because that's what he's going to do. And like I said, I'm not going to say that he's in any way wrong to do it. I'm not going to say that it's going to be bad, because I doubt it will be. I mean, he's a perfectly competent writer. He's probably not going to go to the same well he's gone to before. It's probably going to be something completely different.
No, it'll be the same for 20 pages. Superman will stand around and talk, and then he'll fight some villain for 2 or 3.
Oh, well, that aspect of it, yeah. No, it's going to be a lot more. He's a lot more quippy.
A lot more.
Batman will be very quippy. which might be cool if he writes Nightwing.
Yeah.
I could see Nightwing being a very quippy kind of hero.
Don't rub your Bendis on my Nightwing.
I would love to see a Batman Nightwing team up where they're just being, oh, you know what? Actually, you know what would be great is Nightwing and Damian, written by Bendis, and they're just ragging on each other the whole time. I could think that would be a really fun, enjoyable book. That's what I'm going to say. I think Bendis is going to write a really fun, enjoyable book. I don't think it's going to be this earth-shattering thing when he puts pen to paper on Superman and tells his version of Superman, because it's just going to be, okay, that's his version of Superman, and we probably have already seen his version of Superman somewhere else, because there's only so many ways you can tell Superman. And it's like, you know, I think it's going to be, honestly, you know, one thing I did want to talk about is I just finished the second season of The Tick.
The first season or the second season?
Well, the second half of the first season.
Okay.
But I just finished The Tick. Great series. I'm going to say that. It is a great series. I wish Amazon had something else that made it worth keeping Amazon Prime. You know? I mean, here's what I'm going to say. Hulu, we may wind up keeping just because I know everyone else in my house is watching a lot of Hulu. I mean, I'm not that enamored of all of... I mean, The Runaways was pretty good. It was decent. But if I didn't get the next half of the Runaways season, I'm not going to cry over it. And I didn't necessarily like the fact that it did end on such an obvious cliffhanger with the Runaways. Whereas The Tick ended perfectly, where it ended in such a way that enough loose ends were tied up that you could say, okay, that was a great standalone series, but also enough questions were left that if they come back to it, you know that there's great things to explore again as well. And in general, I felt The Tick was a much more superior story than Runaways, to compare the two. And I would really love to see another season of The Tick. I just don't know if it's worth the $100 a year to wait for it to come out. And especially since I don't even know if it's been approved. I don't know if there's going to be a second season of The Tick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, The Tick, love it as much as I do, has a history of having really loyal fans and having really great stories, and then not having a lot of people come to it. And again, this is one of these things I got to say. With Netflix, there's the entire Marvel line, plus a series of unfortunate events, plus a bunch of other stuff that I guess people really like. I haven't really gotten to it, but I'm already watching like 5 different shows on it, which is more than I'm watching on anything. And not all of them are Marvel, which is amazing. And when it comes to Hulu, and I mean, Hulu has Harlots, which I did enjoy, though I haven't really gotten into yet. And they have Future Man, which I'm very interested by, but I haven't gotten a chance to watch yet. When it comes to Amazon Prime, I just don't have that thing to make me go, okay, now I'm going to sit and watch Amazon Prime. That's my feeling on it. Yeah, I mean, what streaming services do you like? Well, I mean, what do you have, Phil? Do you have any of them?
I just have Netflix right now. I'm probably at least going to give that DC when DC puts their platform out, because it's going to have the Titans live action series. It's going to have, I think, season 3 of Young Justice. Was there something else? I wouldn't be surprised if all that CW stuff, or at least some of it, goes to their platform.
Well, you know, and maybe. CW is one of these things that's hard to find. So I'm guessing that they're planning on moving all their CW stuff there, because it's like, as much as Love says I can find it all, I mean, you know, even on Hulu, there's not like a CW channel. You can get the CW network, but it doesn't have a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of rough. I mean, I can find these shows, but it's not as convenient as when there was really live TV. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping now that my DirecTV... Oh, no, actually, no, because CW is not on my DirecTV now.
No?
So no, it's not. CW is not. However, DirecTV now is working, they don't have to carry broadcast channels. They are, like, we get some of them, but, like, MeTV isn't there, and neither is the CW.
Huh. I know I have regular DirecTV. I don't get MeTV, but I get, like, the, you know, the regular CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, and I get CW.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that may be in your broadcast area.
Maybe.
And I've got to see exactly what I get, but I know when I was going through it on my phone, because I can watch it on the app on my phone first, CW wasn't there. So however they're working it as a streaming service, they aren't bound by the same over-the-air rules that satellite and cable are bound to, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's interesting. There's stuff there, but and this is what we have now. So and our Fire Stick just came today, so we can actually set it up tonight. So very excited.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? We did Damnation. We did Avengers.
Did you read Infinity Countdown #1?
I didn't get the chance to. No.
Oh.
Is it good? Is it worth my while?
Yeah, I think so. Basically, Drax is helping the Nova Corps protect the Power Stone, which is like as big as a small hill now, from the Raptors, which are basically, I guess, I don't know if that's where the Darkhawk armor comes from, because they all look kind of like Darkhawk.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
But yeah. Then the rest of the Guardians are battling the Gardener. He's been the one messing with like Groot and Groot's people. But little Groot heals the Gardener, and the Gardener's like, I remember now. Loki poisoned me.
Oh, Loki.
And then I guess healing the Gardener, it almost killed Groot. So the Gardener's like, here, let me heal you, little one. And Groot comes back, and instead of saying I am Groot, he just refers to himself in the third person. He's like, Groot forgives the Gardener, but Groot will never allow the perversion of his limbs to wreak unintended havoc upon this or any other world, because he goes to fight like a big conglomeration of his people. Yeah,
you know what they just did? They went back to the old Groot.
Yeah, because Star-Lord even says, what did the Gardener do to Groot? And Rocket even says, he restored his factory settings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now he's young Groot.
And he can, say more than 3 words. Yeah. Oh, but then at the end of the issue, we see Black Widow is alive.
Oh, good.
But she got a note. It was like an old drop for her. She goes, only two men knew about this drop. She's like, one of them's dead, supposedly is Wolverine, and she's like, the other one's Captain America, and he's busy. So all she finds is a note that says, take care of this, L. And he left the Space Stone in the toilet tank for her to get.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, Wolverine
left
the Space Stone to Black Widow. So
yeah, well, there you go. And not for nothing, Logan being dead. First off, Logan isn't dead because there's like another Logan running around. Even if you didn't know about regular Logan coming back to life, regular Wolverine's back. I mean, did you see the previews, man? How many miniseries are there for Search for Logan? Like 3 or 4 at least. Yeah. Nah. I have never been that enamored of I've never been that enamored of Wolverine. I'll be honest.
I was gonna say, well, you're not a big X-Men person.
No, I'm not. It's like, oh, okay. Find me Reed Richards. That's what I want.
I think that's coming. I just wonder, are they waiting for that deal to go through, or is it just it's already in the works because is 2 and 1 going to lead to a Fantastic Four book?
First off, again, the comics and the movies aren't like that. Because the comics make their money no matter what. It's like everyone.
I wanted to believe that, but they canceled the Fantastic Four book right before we got the crappiest Fantastic Four thing ever.
Well, yeah, but not for nothing. Well, to put it simply, it's not like the Fantastic Four movie helped the Fantastic Four sales.
No.
So...
And Marvel knew that was coming, or Disney knew that was coming. They're like, shut it down!
Well, the reality is that, trust me, Marvel doesn't want a bad Fantastic Four film out there.
Oh, no.
It's not like, they would love to have Fantastic Four back, but honestly, it's not like they are like, oh, let's hope that fails. It's like, no, they want it to sell because they make their money off of it. They make money when the Fantastic Four has a good movie. They make money off of T-shirts and everything else they sell.
Mm.
And the fact of the matter is that mutants are, because everyone, this is the thing that's annoying. Everyone is like, oh, they're destroying the mutants because they don't own the rights to the mutants. Like, then why are mutants in every single book?
No.
You know, it's like, oh, they're having the Avengers fight the X-Men because they're going to kill off all the X-Men.
Well, I mean,
no, they're making them the central part of their arc, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, for a while,
and then bringing several X-Men back. So
I mean, for a while, when humans were the golden child, and then that TV show, well, you know, hashtag we got balked, and then now that the deal's going through, mutants are like the cool kids again.
No, but it's not like mutants ever faded away from the comic book background. You know, that's what I'm saying, Phil.
It's business.
How many freaking X-Men books are there?
More every day. I mean, X-Men.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, exactly. And this was even during the height of the Inhumans. Oh, the Inhumans are doing something. The humans are going to be big. It's like, no, the Inhumans were fetch. You can't make the Inhumans happen, especially not with Scott. Okay. Let's not dwell on the past. Anything else you want to talk about tonight, Philip?
No, that's everything I had.
Okay, I think that's everything I got. A lot of great stuff. We are in that golden age of content, both comic books and movies and TV, and of course, one Bendis to rule them all. At least that's what DC hopes. DC is wrong. DC chose poorly. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna say, yeah, DC chose poorly. DC always chooses poorly. You know, DC doesn't understand that people don't actually want to just read named writers. They want interesting stories.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that Bendis doesn't have interesting stories to tell. It's just to say he's already told a lot of his interesting stories. You know? You know, it's sort of like when you get Arnold Schwarzenegger in your movie nowadays. Arnold Schwarzenegger is still a big star. No one's going to deny it. But he ain't exactly peak Arnold Schwarzenegger anymore. But you got to pay peak Arnold Schwarzenegger prices to get him. But you're getting slightly distressed Schwarzenegger at this point, you know? He's not the Schwarzenegger he used to be. And hey, he'll be the first to admit it. He's not Hercules in New York anymore, you know?
He's older. He's had a scandal or two.
Yeah, like a vault. Don't even get me started on him, because I'll tell you this much. A guy like Schwarzenegger, it's all about timing. And he had his scandal
That's the maid.
At a time before everything. It's like this. Arnold Schwarzenegger would not have survived his scandal today. Because he was groping women all over the place. Remember? With the gropinator, you know?
But I mean, our president seems to be Teflon in that department.
Well, not really. Well, no. I mean,
people up in arms.
Just because he hasn't been arrested. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he got elected president with a minority of the votes, and you know, he got elected by a quirk of the electoral college system. That's just it for Donald Trump. It's not like he was It's not like he was popular. He just was popular in just the right spots, basically. You know. That's the long story of our president. Yeah. You know. Anyway, what is it? 2 more years of this. You know. Yeah, no, technically 3 years, and anyway.
It'll be stormy. Get it?
Yeah. Well, honestly, yeah. Truth be told, I have no idea how much longer Trump's going to be in office. I honestly think the man's going to resign. I think that at a certain point, he's just going to say, "I've accomplished all that I intended to do. Now I go off to." He's going to do a Palin. I can do more in the private sector.
He's going to sit in that White House and eat as many Happy Meals as he can, Charlie.
He says he doesn't like to cook there. He says they don't. They
might poison him.
No, not for nothing. You know, I don't know. It's, you know, basically for a guy like Donald Trump, the fact that you have 24-hour room service at the White House isn't really a selling point to him, because he is not aware that you don't have that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
to him, that's just, you can call up the chef at any time, day or night, and they'll cook food. It's like, well, I know that's what the chef does, right? That's his job. He waits on call for me to want something, and then he makes it for me.
All right, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
We're done. That's enough of that. So, Philip, how can people reach out to us and touch us if they'd so like?
Oh, geez. If you want to touch our Bendis, you can always email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks, Twitter, @CapesLunatics and @CL Sidekicks, and the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And if you want to do any kind of interviews for any of our shows, email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. Because we got, I don't know what, like 25 more episodes to episode 200 of Superconnectivity.
Ooh, really? Wow.
This is 175 right here, my friend.
Oh, goodness. Oh, I didn't even realize. Oh, such a crazy world we live in. Oh, we've been doing this that long. That amazes me. Okay. Anyway, and of course, if you'd like to reminisce on how much Superconnectivity has touched you over the years, you can always write to me in an old-fashioned email way at the superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things whenever I can get them on my TV. @Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's right there in the middle for quality. Thank you for connecting with us, ladies and gentlemen. Please, super connect with us again. Good night.
Oh, that's right. I think tonight's episode 100 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is that right?
Oh, is it back?
Yeah. It was on last week, too, I believe.
Oh, I missed an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Maybe, yeah. But I believe the description for tonight, we'll go try to find it online, because I think tonight they said, I think, well, they're back. They're back in the present, and I think they said they're going to reveal what kind of deal Coulson made with Ghost Rider. Maybe that's why he's dying. I don't know.
Oh, okay. We're going to have to find out, man. I didn't know.
Good night, everyone. Keep your Bendis in your pants.